Today we're going to talk about a very small case. In fact, it's going to be a small form factor, as you can see right here. This is the DanCase A4-SFX, and you might already seen my time-lapse video of it. Now today we're going to check some thermals with this case. Of course, the case does have its limits, which is quite understandable since we're talking about a really smaller case, a really compact case, I would say, but nevertheless quite interesting, I would say. Now, right on front you have a power button and you have the USB Type-C connectivity. Unfortunately, you don't have a USB 3.0 additionally to next to the Type-C, but since it's a smaller case, you have all the USBs at the back on the motherboard, which is really great, and they're really handy to access, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, when we're talking about panel removements, you have 4 screws on top for the whole chassis. As you can see, it goes all the way through down, and you have down at the bottom 2 additional screws, so that's 6 screws to remove the middle panel. When we're talking about the side panels, you also have 2 additional screws for each, so you have to flip your case and you have 2 screws on one side, 2 screws on the other. That's basically it. This is how you access everything. Now, flipping it around again. Now this is quite interesting because not only do you have 2 screws holding the panel, you have 4 additional inserts on each side of the panels that you just place inside the case. So this is it. You don't have to place 2 screws at the bottom because they will stay. For the middle panel, I would suggest you placing all the screws, and that's all there is to it. Now, all the cables are original from the power supply, so you can see you can do a nice cable management, but I did have to remove the panel, the plate that can hold 2.5-inch SSD. So now you're wondering, what SSDs did I use? Mini ITX motherboards come with most likely 2 M.2 SSD slots, so you could place your SSDs over there, or if you decide to go with 2.5-inch hard drive or an SSD, depends what you want, you can place it right here at the front, which kinda is cool, and it has an opening directly to connect it with SATA power and SATA data connectivity directly to your motherboard. So, taking into consideration, we have the Noctua NHL9i Chromax Black, which has maybe a few millimeters of extra space right here. So that's more than enough for the space, especially for the NHL9. Now, for the power supply, you do need, I'm currently using the Seasonic Focus SGX 650 watts, which is quite enough to power even an RTX 2070 or I would say even stronger card, but the limitations for the graphic card are indeed here inside the case. 2 sticks of RAMs, you can place an SSD right here, the M.2 of course. That's basically all there is to it. I would suggest, I'm doing it normally for every build, but just in case, I would suggest for you guys to connect all the cables to the power supply before placing the power supply inside. The cable for the connectivity for the power is actually really long, and it really has extra length, so I don't know how you're going to manage it, but I did place it beneath the graphic card and all around to connect it to the power supply. So, as you can see, you just pop out the tops, and that's all there is to it. This side has extra space here. We have KFA2 GeForce RTX 2060 Super Gamer, and you have 3 more centimeters of space here in the length, and I would say maybe 2 centimeters of height. But this is only the graphic card. You do need to take into consideration that you have a PCI Express cable that needs to be connected to your graphic card. So this is something that you need to think through before you go. So placing the cable can give you additional 2 centimeters of weight of the graphic card. Now for the thickness, maximum 2 PCI slots, no more than that, because I did try to place the MSI RTX 2070 armor inside, and even though that it would fit with the weight and the length, the depth, the thickness of the card will definitely stick out. Will it give you a better airflow if the panel is off? I honestly don't think so, because as you can see, all the panels have holes for the airflow. So the left side, the right side, and of course the top side also. So this is quite alright. You could place here 2 additional small fans, which can give you, I would say, a chimney effect, but since the cables from the power supply and the cables for the connectivity to your motherboard, like 8-pin EPS, are going below, it will be really hard to manage it. Unless you're going with strictly and direct connectivity for the cables from the power supply to your components, then I think you could manage something else and something more. Now unfortunately I wanted to have a perfect silver-black combination on the build, but unfortunately the KFA2 doesn't have an RGB possibility to adjust it. I wanted to disconnect it, but unfortunately if I disconnect the cables for the RGB, I automatically disconnect the fans, so that isn't good. So let's check out some tests and run some benchmarks to see the temperatures on the GPU, on the CPU, and how will the case basically perform in those conditions. So first of all, let's turn this build on, and to show you what I'm talking about when it comes to RGB, it would be really nice if there wasn't RGB, or basically if there was a possibility to adjust the lights into white, so it would kind of go with the whole theme of the build. But let's talk about thermals, temperatures of the GPU and the CPU inside the case. I did 2 types of scenarios, so closed panels and open panels, basically without any panels except for the middle one, which is the most important one. So the CPU with open panels went to 85 Celsius degrees, and we do need to take into consideration that this is 10700K, and possibly if we went with 10400 processor from Intel, then I think the temperatures would be much lower, and with the closed panels it went up to 92, which is a lot basically. Now when we're talking about the RTX 2060 Super, we had temperatures with closed panel up to 75 Celsius degrees and with open panel 72, which isn't that much of a difference. And in AIDA GPU benchmark, I actually ran it multiple times just to get more consistent temperature than just some oscillations in the results. So the DanCase A4-SFX, the 7.2 liter case, is basically really an outstanding case if you take into consideration that you'll go with lower grade processor, and it could be for some mid-range gaming, nice and elegant desktop build, which would make a really impressive setup. Mid-range gaming, did I say that already? Or HTPC computer that would stand near your television and collect movies or series or whatever from your main server or NAS or whatever there is. So basically, yeah guys, when it comes to compactness, this is the case. This is the smallest case I've ever had a chance to review on this channel, and really impressive. The temperatures are high on the processor, but I wouldn't suggest going with 10700K, especially because the NHL9i Chromax Black is basically a smaller cooler that can't handle, in this case, this processor. But all in all, really outstanding case. Really love how you build inside it, and all the features that you get with possibilities of placing an SSD on front. Really nice design. I have to admit, no flaws in the manufacturing process, and that's basically it for today, guys. So thank you for watching today's video. I'll place the links below where you can check out the DanCase A4-SFX, the 7.2 liter small form factor case, and that's all there is to it. So thank you for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts below. Would you ever go with this case, with this small size that is basically even smaller than any other SFF case that, well, basically I reviewed? So yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button if you like the video, and of course subscribe for future content. See you very soon, guys. Bye bye.